Hey, good morning, Mr. Grider. How are you,
Good
sir?
morning and good afternoon to those that are on the East Coast. Love doing these webinars with you and kind of a little change today. And I notice you've been practicing and moving up in your jujitsu class, and it
Yeah,
shows, right?
yeah, Joe. Yeah. So you may notice that I have a pretty cool shiner now. Yeah, on
Yeah.
Monday on Monday, I was rolling with one of my training partners, and yeah, I took a knee to the face, and then it got really puffy at first. I was like, oh no. And then if my wife, she gave me some arnica to put on it, and it went down.
Okay.
But now I have a not pretty cool
Got a
shiner.
shiner. Hey,
Yeah.
I love that you're out there being active. I think that is just great. We all should take that as do something for our health, right? Eat right, exercise, do something you like.
100%.
I
A
love
hundred
it. So,
percent. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Just something doing something active, get moving. It keeps the body keeps the body well, right? So
right.
hey guys, so welcome everyone. Thank you for attending another webinar here with us at Home Express. So what are we going to be talking about today? So our subject for today is how to close purchases quickly. We're going to be sharing some pretty cool tips with you. So as always, we want to thank you for your participation. Today with us, we have Jim Reuter, who is our regional sales manager, myself, Albert Martinez, who is your corporate trainer here with Home Express Mortgage. And then we have our special guest with us is Mr. David Grider, who is our senior vice president of sales. So some of the things that we'll be covering today. Here's our agenda. We're going to be talking a little bit about market volatility, some highlights. Jim is going to be sharing some things with you about our portal, how to close these transactions quickly, and avoiding certain traps. So with that, Jim, David, I hand it over to you.
Wow. Well, thank you, Albert. Um, we're going to get into the market volatility. I think this is a great kind of learning pattern how to close loans quickly, giving the volatility of today, making sure we're taking care of your borrowers in a proper way and closing on time. But Albert, I mean, do we have a poll to start out with, or?
You, Mr. Grider, we
Oh, I
do
love it.
we do
Okay,
have
I was hoping you'd
polls.
say that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, we want to kind of ask the masses and what they think. Pricing engines, right? There's a lot of them out there. How many pricing engines do you think Home Express is currently on right now? Do you think it's
Wow.
just three? Is it five? Is it six? Maybe all of them? What's it, what say you?
Well, I think it's five or six, but I'm going to take the one in the middle because I learned that back in high school. When you take tests, you're not for sure. You pick the letter C right in the middle, and you do that consistently. It works to your advantage. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I did pass high school, so that's good. I even went to college, right? Past
Yes, sir.
that. So
Yeah.
I'd say the middle five.
Here we go. So let's go ahead and let's end the poll and share the results. So the majority say five, man. That is correct. We
Wow.
are currently in five pricing engines. So there we go.
So
So awesome.
picking C worked. Picking the middle one worked. So you kind of see those out there. Great.
So
So
almost straight.
yeah. Yeah. So if you're have one of these pricing engines you do, you got might talk to your admin of those to put us on there, which would be great. And you'll see where we're competitively priced in a lot of different loan programs. So I'm just talking a little bit of volatility. And I wanted to approach this kind of from a angle of really kind of I think it's good when you're talking about how to close loans quickly here, right? Starting this year out, I thought, hey, man, rates are stabilized, heading down a little bit. I knew they weren't going to go down all that much this year, but kind of stabilized. We saw a lot of momentum with that at towards the end of February. Then all of a sudden, you've seen this big spike up, and now it's back down. It's even back down a little bit today. And the reason I'm showing you the 2 year, because this is probably the most um, the most bond type of thing you look at for the non-QM market. If you're in the conventional side, you kind of probably find more closely to the trend of the 10-year, but you can see where we're at, and it's probably affected a little bit of people in March, right? I do let you know that we do hedge so that we honor all our locks and have not done that historically on the non-QM, and everybody kind of does that on the conventional side. But when you lock with us, it's safe, and we're going to honor our lock on those. So But I'm kind of empathetic of dealing with clients that see all this geopolitical things happening, rates go up and down, and how to deal with that. I'm a point like, especially you're buying a house where you're going to live in, that's probably the most important would be the location, the home that fits your family. But you're also trying to get the right payment and the best deal you can. And part of that is in the rate category. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Jim Reuter, who's one of our top leading regional sales manager. I think it's good for him to kind of present how him and his team close loans quickly and some of the ways that he does that with our partners out there. So Jim, I'll kind of hand it over to you. And by the way, we're going to take any questions you have at the end. So put a lot of questions there. It doesn't have to be on necessarily this topic. You can talk about Nakium industry, whatever programs you want. I'll try to answer any question you put in. So, Jim, over to you.
Dave, thank you very much. Good morning to all of our friends out west. Good afternoon to our friends in the central and eastern time zones. As Dave said, my name is Jim Reuter, Regional Sales Manager here with Home Express. I happen to reside northwest of Chicago in the bucolic town of Woodstock, Illinois. And for those cinema buffs, Woodstock was the filming location for Bill Murray's Groundhog Day. So, what is Puxatawney, Pennsylvania in the movies is in reality Woodstock, Illinois. Albert, if we can go to our next slide, please. All right. So I'm going to take just a couple slides to talk about some general housing trends that are impacting the overall U.S. housing market, and then we'll drill down to discuss how to price, how to properly structure, and then ultimately submit and close your purchase files with Home Express. Okay. Now, there's a lot of information on this slide and some interesting tidbits, but I think, the two overarching themes that have been impacting the U.S. housing market have been rates and affordability. And affordability is a factor of inventory, right? Now, rates, this lock-in effect or the golden handcuffs, that's real, right? So you have a lot of home buyers like me. Hey, I purchased my house in February of 2020 at near historic low interest rate. And then, of course, we had the refi boom of 2021, 2022, where interest rates hit all-time lows. And so now people who are in 2.5%, 3.5%, 4% interest rate mortgages in their homes are unwilling to sell their houses, even if they have growing families and they need to move into larger homes to accommodate ever-growing families, et cetera. So that really has impacted pricing in the overall U.S. Housing market. And really, I should say housing markets, right? The market itself isn't a monolith. We're talking about dozens of different markets around the country, from California to Houston or the DFW Metroflex, Florida, et cetera. So let's go to the next slide, Albert. Okay. Now, why did I happen to mention that I live northwest of Chicago? Well, today it's 60 degrees and the grass in my backyard is finally getting green. But folks, I'm telling you, it was a really cold winter. And when it's cold here in the upper Midwest, people would prefer to do some ice fishing rather than go off and find a new home to buy, right? So expect the housing market to be coming out of hibernation. And I'm predicting a buyer's market. If it isn't already a buyer's market, it soon will be. So I read this article earlier this week with data published from Redfin, and it's over half of all homes currently for sale in the United States have been lingering on the market for more than 2 months, and that represents nearly 350 billion with a B in quote unquote stale listings. There are also currently a record 630,000 more sellers than buyers, and the average home is listed for 66 days. So now it's taking almost 70 days for a house to sell. What does that mean for you and your clients? To me, it says there's more opportunity for you to find clients who are looking to purchase homes this year, and Home Express can be your one-stop shop to help them with every conceivable mortgage product, not just non-QM, which is obviously the reason we're here today. But I also just want to mention that we also have very competitively priced agency and conforming products. So, after this webinar, go to our XConnect website and take a look at our Fannie, Freddie, FHA, and VA rates. You may be surprised at what you find there. All right, Albert, let's go to the next slide. Okay, now, how can non-QM specifically help you close more mortgage business? Well, or more purchase business. By some estimates, even though the non-QM space has grown, it's grown incredibly over the last 10 years. By some estimates, it's about 15% of all mortgages originated in the United States. So, but it's become known because non-QM offers alternative income documentation products for self-employed borrowers and also debt service coverage ratio products for real estate investors. Let's just take a couple seconds to talk about AltDoc. So for self-employed borrowers with at least a 700 FICO, we can go to LTVs as high as 90 on owner-occupied purchases. You're going to get your best pricing if your self-employed borrower who wants to show bank statements has been self-employed for at least 4 years. However, we also have a fantastic product called the 12-month cash flow, which is specifically designed for self-employed borrowers who have been self-employed at least 12 months, but less than 24 months. Example, truck driver, right? They drove for Schneider National for 10 years. They became self-employed 13 months ago. We can help that borrower. We're not going to help the borrower who's been a real estate agent for a year and a half, and yet 2 years ago was the high school English teacher and football coach. Okay, that's a fantastic product that we developed several years ago. But if bank statements isn't the way to go, we have profit and loss options, asset depletion, 1099 programs for, say, gig workers, Uber drivers, etc. Let's go to the next slide, Albert. Okay, debt service coverage ratio, or DSCR. By now, most mortgage professionals are very familiar with this product. When I started with Home Express 8.5 years ago, not a lot of knowledge in the marketplace, but now it's hugely popular. Why? Well, here at Home Express, we do not require borrowers to disclose on the IRLA their occupation or their average monthly income. Right? So these loans, for all intents and purposes, act as no income verification loans for real estate investors. Why? Because we're going to take 100% of the projected cash flow of the subject property as dictated by the rent schedule, the 1007 rent schedule in the appraisal, and divide that by the proposed PITI payment. It's really that simple. And when it comes to refinances, sidebar, I realize we're here talking about closing purchases quickly, but I do want to emphasize our company, longstanding company motto of speed, ease, and convenience. If you have a refinance for an investor client, not only can we go to 80 LTV cash out as long as they have a 720 FICO or higher, but the only items that we need in order to submit that loan to underwriting and get you a conditional approval are a completed IRLA and a copy of the borrower's tri-merge credit report. And you're going to get that conditional approval within 24 to 48 hours. All right, let's go to the next slide, Albert. Okay, a couple more features and benefits of our products and why it may make sense to go non-QM. So our two main consumer purpose products are CoreX and PrimeX. The minimum score to get through the red velvet ropes into club non-QM on CoreX is 600. Okay. 1 day removed from bankruptcy, foreclosure, etc. In some cases, we can go as high as a 55 DTI on that product, and second homes up to 85 LTV. PrimeX, as the name implies, is going to be slightly better and better priced relative to CoreX. Rates will generally be a quarter to three-eighths of a point lower. And if you happen to be working with high net worth individuals, we can go to loan amounts as high as $4 million on PrimeX. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of submitting really good, clean files to underwriting here at Home Express. Okay, so let's talk about clean submissions. So even though our XConnect broker portal allows you, your loan originator assistant, or your processor to easily register a loan, price a loan, uh, we strongly recommend that when you know or suspect that your borrower's unique scenario has to go non-QM, right? Maybe you ran that MISMO 3.4 through Fannie Mae, did not get a clean DU or LP approval. You got to refer eligible, and you took a look at the findings. You're like, heck, I got to go non-QM. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call. I'm going to call my guy Joe Hansen. I'm going to call my gal Jody Crawford. I'm going to call my guy Neil Farbman at Home Express. Always have a conversation with your highly trained and very knowledgeable Home Express account executive. Why? Well, non-QM by its very nature, these loans, these scenarios, they have dents, they have scratches, they have a little bit of chipped paint. Okay. So we want to make sure that your account executive understands the scenario, has that conversation with you, requests specific documentation to make your loan scenario as strong as possible for underwriting. And then we provide underwriting with as much documentation ahead of time so that we can ensure that you have a clean approval. What do I mean by that? Let's go to the next slide, Albert. Okay, so when you log in, so this screenshot supposes the following. We've uploaded the IRLA. We've gotten some pricing. In this case, this is a bank statement loan. So we've already sent the bank statements and the self-employment questionnaire to our income desk. Typically, you get answers within 24 hours, but lately the income desk has been doing such a great job that you could submit a set of bank statements, maybe even several sets of bank statements this morning. And by the close of business, you will have a detailed income analysis of your self-employed borrower's business cash flow, either business or personal bank statements. And as represented on this screenshot, they're already in the file. Now, you click into document upload. What else are we going to need in terms of minimum required documents? Well, as you can see here, this loan still needed a copy of the purchase contract. Okay. So these 4 items, the borrower's income, obviously the credit report, and then the purchase contract, that's hypothetically all that we need in order to submit this loan to underwriting and hopefully get you a conditional approval. Let's go to the next slide, Albert, please. Okay, but there are some optional documents, and you will find this on the right side of that same screen. Okay, and one thing I often challenge my account executives on when it comes to purchase contracts is the following, or purchase transactions is the following. What if you have Section 2A on the IRLA that is blank, and then you also are about to submit a file to underwriting where, see that second line down, it says bank statement / assets. That's also blank. They haven't been uploaded. And so I always pose the question, why in the world on a purchase transaction would you not provide proof of the borrower's assets for down payment, closing costs, and reserves ahead of time, right? It will increase the probability that you are going to get a clean conditional approval. In addition to that, always, always, always tell every potential sordid detail of your borrower scenario to your account executive. And one of my favorite quotes of all time in this company is the one you see on the screen from Neil Farbman, the Home Express godfather. Whatever it was, you were going to tell me last, tell me first. Let's just get all of the potential dirty details out into the open, and then your account executive will determine whether or not the deal is worth doing, right? And folks, there are times that there are simply scenarios that we cannot help with. And if that's the case, we're going to let you know. But if we do see a path forward, your highly knowledgeable account executive is going to tell you how to do it, how we're going to structure it, and the type of documentation we need ahead of time. And Neil has been so successful over the years that 94% of his submissions to underwriting have yielded at least a conditional approval. And I also want to make special mention of another longtime account executive here, Lori Souza. 95% of her submissions receive conditional approval. So we have a lot of AEs here who know what they're talking about. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, this is what page one of the typically usually about 3 pages in length PDF version of the conditional approval looks like. All right, and in all the years that I was a producing account executive, I would often receive a phone call from a customer that went something like this: Jim, I got a purchase and it has to close by April 30th. And, either I couldn't get it through DU, or I sent it to another lender and they screwed up on something and I'm really under the gun and I got to close this quickly. I'll say, okay, let's calm down. And I would ask, the basic questions. What's the borrower's FICO? Oh, they're self-employed. How long have they been self-employed? What do they want to provide in terms of their income? Do they want to show us their tax returns? Do they want to show us their bank statements? As a sidebar, folks, you know what? We don't charge extra in order to underwrite a bank statement loan relative to a full income documentation tax return loan for a self-employed individual. They're priced exactly the same, right? So I get all the details and then I say, okay, if you need to close this by April 30th, here's what you got to do. You got to listen to exactly what I say. You got to do exactly what I tell you to do. And then whatever you see on your conditional approval, regardless if it's on the PDF version like you see in front of you, or when you log in to the XConnect portal and you click conditions and you see the list of all the prior to doc conditions, provide to us exactly what it is the underwriter is asking for. It truly can be that simple. And you know what? Last month, Home Express funded $322 million and we funded 790 something units. And all of those files got in and out of the system in an average of 30 days. So just, in order to avoid this conditions trap, just listen to your AE and provide only that which is being requested. So let's go to the next slide, Albert. Okay. We make it really easy to follow the progress of your loan, right? You'll log in, you'll see various color codings. This one you're going to find at the top of the screen, and it quickly tells you, hey, you got 31 conditions before you can get your clear to close. Right off the bat, 7 have been cleared, 24 remain. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about more visually pleasing information here. Okay, now you will upload conditions into the portal. Obviously, green means go. It's already cleared. You're good to go. Anything coded in yellow is pending sign off. And then obviously anything in red is either remains outstanding, or if you find a situation where you uploaded, say, a preliminary title policy, and 24 hours later you log into the file and you find that condition hasn't been cleared, you're going to see that little triangle, that little tab to the left of each condition. Click on that and it will reveal a drop down with comments either from the account manager or the underwriter detailing why the condition wasn't cleared. And I'm telling you, folks, and I've seen this so many times I've lost count. And it typically happens on title policies and insurance policies, right? Our company name is misspelled. That's why it wasn't cleared. It could be something as simple as that, right? So we make it really easy for you to follow progress of your loans approval 24/7. Just make sure, and you could do all of this yourself. You don't necessarily need to send an email or pick up the phone and call your account executive, but if they are particularly handsome and charming, why not give them a call? But otherwise, you can go in at 2 o'clock in the morning if you want, click on that download, or click on that tab to find the reason why your condition wasn't signed off. All right, let's go to the next one here, Albert. So some secrets about XConnect. It will clearly show you the items required for CDs. And we don't have a screenshot of it, but for those of you who have done business with us, first of all, thank you very much for your business. And you can confirm what I'm about to say from experience. As soon as you log in, especially to a consumer purpose loan, you're going to see CD, needed for CD, next to each condition. Okay. Underneath the conditions sidebar on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see documents. Any document associated with that file is there for your reference. If you need to download it, you can do that. And it also has a searchable bar where if you're looking for the appraisal or if you're looking for a bank statement or assets, just start typing in there. And then all of those dozens, sometimes even hundreds of documents will winnow down to help you find that document that you're looking for. And then finally, when you first log into the portal and you see your pipeline, if you scroll over to the right, again, you will see this color-coded visual aid to show you where in the overall approval process your loan is. And then that lets you and your processors and your loan originator assistants know, hey, I got to get moving on this. Let's get more documents uploaded today. And I'll remind you that when it comes to most departments, initial underwriting, condition review, documents, we are at 24 to 48 hours. Once a file is clear to close, as long as that file, at least in our East Tampa Operations Center, as long as that file is clear to close and in the docs queue by 3 p.m. Eastern, it will be closing the next day. The one exception is if you have an investor loan in Texas that requires an additional 24 hours for attorney review. Okay. But part of what we teach our account executives is to constantly set expectations, right? To make you aware, hey, these are our turn times, right? And review turn times are roughly 24 to 48 hours. So if you're working on something as important as a purchase, and let me go sidebar just for a second here, folks. We understand that this is really important. It's not just one of the most important transactions of your customer's life, buying a house, but this is also your income. Okay, so we take your purchase transactions seriously, and we will, cuddle and care for them. Like Tommy Boy. It's just my little bunny or my little car or whatever it was. Right? We're going to care for that purchase transaction, but yeah, this is a two-way street. This is a team effort, right? As long as you understand what our turn times are and work backwards from your desired closing date, and you get us the documents we need in enough time to do our review, we're gonna do our part to make sure that purchase closes on time. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, we allow you to lock a rate prior to the loan even being submitted in underwriting. We offer 30, 45, and 60-day locks. And you have the ability to generate the lock confirmation and print a PDF so you can save it for your records. Additionally, if you feel that our team has missed something, there is a publicly viewable notes section where instead of emailing the underwriter and your account executive and his or her account manager directly, which we welcome, you can also just leave a note in the file, and then the next time the account manager or the underwriter go into the loan, they'll be able to see that note and act accordingly. Next slide, please.
Jim, this is all amazing data that you have shared. Wow. I mean, thank you so much for going over all of this, going over X.
Very thorough.
Yeah, very, very thorough.
Okay, so the pressure's off, and folks, after this webinar, it might as well be 5 o'clock to me. All right, so I'm tapping out. The pressure's off.
As a step-by-step, kind of how to close a personal is really good, and everybody's going to get a copy of this deck, and then everybody can look at it and kind of do that. And so, Albert, what's next here? I know we're going to talk about a few things.
Ryder, you love those polls.
I do. We got another one?
You do. We do have another one. So let's go ahead and let's ask the masses, having to do with our guidelines for non-delegated correspondent, right?
Wow.
Do you think the guidelines for non-delegated correspondent are more strict than wholesale? Do you think they're less strict than wholesale? Or Are they exactly the same? Are they the same thing? What say you?
Well, I'm going to leave it up to the audience on this one because I know, right? So that's it. So I know, but I would say in general, most investors, if they're doing wholesale and correspondent, the correspondent gets tightened up a little bit.
Right.
I do that.
Let's see what the masses think. The masses think they are exactly the same.
They are correct. Good. So it is so whatever channel you go to, whether it's on the wholesale side, great, or you elect to kind of go through the non-delegated correspondent, we still underwrite. No carve-outs on programs, but we understand the advantages of that non-delegated when you're the lender and we kind of partner with you. So if you have any questions on that and that you guys want to get signed up on the non-delegated channel, you can still do wholesale and both. So and there's no carve outs. It's a great program you have for those loans that you may want to be having more control on when you're the lender. So with that, we'll go to the next and maybe take some questions here eventually here, Albert.
Yes, sir. So we do have some questions here in the chat. Let me go ahead
I'll
and
take any of them. I love the questions, so you can ask me
so
anything.
yeah, exactly, right? So one of them being it's from Drew, and he is saying that he would love to see I would love to see you add Encompass ICE PPE pricing engine.
Yes, I would too. And that's on our deck to do. So I agree with you, and I'll take that in to see where we're at with that. But that's on the plan to get that accomplished. So hopefully, I can't give you an ETA on it now, but it's something we're working on.
Awesome. The next one is going to be in our Q&A. We have any way we can share the article he read about becoming a buyer's market.
I'll just share this with that person, and of course you can, but there was an article from National Mortgage Professionals dated March 23rd, 2026. Seller surplus jumps to 630,000. So that's the delta between potential buyers out there and sellers, which is an all-time record. And so you can just see where there's more inventory than there are buyers right now at the moment. So that by definition of supply and demand, you would say that buyers have more homes to choose from. And so if you want to sell your home, you're going to have to look at making sure your home's updated, the appeal of it, maybe the pricing you got to do. And again, when I look at this, that's a national statistic. Every market is kind of localized, and you need to kind of go to that. So if you look in general, other markets are there. So, oh, someone put it on there. Hey, you're right. So there's tons of information out there. We're just trying to provide that for you. But anytime you have some information that we have, we'd love to share that with you. So we'll go to the next question, Albert.
The next one, Tanya says, I'm going to need you, Tommy boy.
Oh, gee. I know. I was cracking up when he brought that analogy. Okay. Awesome.
Haley asked, did my last two DSCRs through you guys, and the portal's very user friendly for the conditions. Angel and Shirley have been awesome to work with. Are you all able to help with self-employment calculations without a purchase contract, for example, for pre-approval?
Well, Jim, I'm gonna let you answer one of these. I think you're gonna like the answer on this.
Yes, absolutely. We train our account executives to act as field underwriters, and we challenge our account executives to know the guidelines even better than our underwriters. So, what does that mean for a pre-qualification? Yes, absolutely. We can calculate the income, especially if it's bank statement income. And as long as the borrower and you provide us with as much information about the borrower circumstances as possible, we can do essentially a pre-underwrite. To be clear, we will not formally underwrite TBD properties, right? But we can do a complete analysis of the borrower's income, assets, liabilities, get an idea of what that eventual property tax calculation is going to be on a purchase, and then circle back with you to say, look, according to our calculations, the borrower is pre-approved for a purchase up to X. and then you can confidently tell your client to go off and go home shopping.
I mean, what a great question on a purchase kind of market that we're heading into. You probably need to know the income we can use before they go look at and get under contract. So absolutely, let's upload those bank statements, and I think we got some other enhancements on the portal coming real soon, where we have a self-employed questionnaire just to get appropriate standard expense factor. That's actually going to be on the portal to put on there. So some great stuff to make it seamless to give you, hey, this is the income that we can use, and you can always go back. So it is a great feature on our portal.
I think if I may add to some of the things and the features that are available in our portal as well, one of the things that we also offer when you gain access to our portal, and if you don't have access right now, feel free to reach out to Mr. Grider. His information is on here, or your account executive. We can make sure that you gain access to the portal. It's actually that we offer a complimentary rental meter. So you can actually go in, let's just say, for example, that you're looking at a DSCR, maybe you're trying to figure out what those rents are going to be. You can actually go into the portal and request a complimentary rental meter, and you will receive it within minutes. That way, that gives you a more educated idea as far as what that DSCR is going to look like, helps you and helps your borrower put the structure of the deal together. Obviously, in addition to our AE helping you out as well. Andrea asks, any update on getting the DSCR calculation added to the pricing tool? Other lenders have boxes for taxes and insurance, so it also populates the number. It would be helpful.
I actually agree it would be, and I've been working with IT on that, because it's really kind of an algebra formula, because you go in and I tell you how most submissions are done. They're coming in with a DSCR of 1. That's because the pricing's out there is great. Waiting on the 1007 or 1025 if it's units, right? And then you're getting the updated taxes, the insurance, and all that. It'd be great to kind of put those in there for the loan amount. Maybe you need to go interest only, how to make that work. I honestly understand that. That's really critical when you get, as Jim kind of put on here, it's really easy to get that approval out there, right? You got the profile of the credit profile of the borrower. We kind of know what they're trying to do on this investment property, buy it, and everybody puts it at 1. The real, calculations of what the loan looks like is when you get that 1007 or rent survey back. It'd be nice to have that. What does the underwriter have for the taxes? Well, what's the insurance amount, right? And here's the loan amount. Then you can move the loan amount up or down, or look at where you're at, or put interest only feature on it to see if you can get over 1. I agree with you 100%.
The next question is there a plan to create a prequel feature within the portal to create a prequel that's more official? Looks like that was something that was offered with one of our competitors, and it seems to be very useful.
We've looked at that from time to time, and I'm going to write it down. There's something where can it be a commitment without the underwriter looking at it, or what is it, and how to be competitive in rates and staffing. I think there should be something, honestly, when you go and you price a deal out, right? So most of our guidelines kind of go into the pricing. It's not 100% right. You kind of know what the filter, you know what the FICO score, you know what those things are. You can get the bank statements calculated if it's going alt doc. If it's W-2, you divide by 12, get the recent paycheck stub. You pretty much know on your end if that's a deal, right? But I understand you'd like a pre-qualification form. There's some companies that do it through underwriting. Then you go into how much staff, and you got to look at all those different things. But it's something I think would be great, because like if you get a DU approval, the underwriter hasn't looked at it. It maybe some form like that would be great to have. And so great feedback on that.
Additional comment to that, but having something that we can send out to the brokers prior to the underwriting that gives them more information, that would be awesome. Okay.
No, everybody's looking for, hey, can you do it? Are you real, right? We've been doing DocuWin for over 10 years, right? So our account executives are great. We have a high, conditional approval rate. It's way up there. So pretty good. And I've already looked at, it's like kind of what's the differences are. Even if something pops up, there's a time bomb in a file we did not know about, right? Jim talked about, tell us whatever you're waiting for at the end, tell us early, right? But sometimes the borrower doesn't tell you, and it pops up. One of our great things about our company is You have access to our sales managers. They can go to our scenario desk, so it's our credit department. We're going to look at that to try to find a way to make that deal work. We are a true lender investor. We underwrite our own guidelines. We fund with our own money. That gives us flexibility to make exceptions that make sense. So we want to look at all your deals that make sense, right? So whether it fits or not. So you have access to that through the portal, through your account executive, and ultimately you're going to get some answers back to you right away, right? And I'd say, that's a great feature to have if you're used to sending us deals and you kind of get that pattern of consistency, and if it goes wrong, somebody go with you. It may not be the exact loan that you wanted, but something pops up that's unforeseen. Maybe it's a little bit lower LTV, or maybe it kind of gets affected, but you got a loan you can close, and that's important.
The next question is from Elias, and he's asking, can a borrower waive escrows on self-employment loan 1099 program?
Yes, if it fits. You can't be high cost. So you got those high price mortgage loans where you have to do that. So there is a test on that. What they do, we cannot break federal law. But on our, portal, you can price it waiving impounds if it's eligible, right? So if it's eligible, yeah, right?
Excellent. Here's a question that came in for Jim, and it says, how do I choose the right lender for the right file?
Wow, what a great question.
Yeah. Well, here, I'll answer it this way, right? Two-part answer, maybe three-part answer. If you have a DU or LP approval, then you have, well, just in general, right? You have an ethical and a fiduciary responsibility to place your borrower in the absolute best loan program possible, right? So a good majority of the time, you're going to get that LP or DU approval, and you'll be able to take that borrower, Fannie, Freddie. If it's a VA borrower, obviously go VA, maybe even FHA. Now, in the past, I would say, so send it to your favorite conforming lender, and then you have Home Express and non-QM here as a solid backup plan. Well, as I said earlier in the presentation, guess what? We have extremely competitive agency and conforming rates, right? So even though we built this company on non-QM, we're growing our agency and conforming business, and I would encourage you, again, kick the tires. You may be pleasantly surprised about the pricing that you find. Otherwise, when you know that you have to go non-QM, I would respectfully ask the following: just make us your first or second phone call or your first or second email to discuss that non-QM scenario. And hopefully, through a combination of service and pricing and the convenience that our online portal offers, you will choose Home Express for that transaction, and we'll perform well enough that after that, we're going to be your only phone call or only email to discuss that scenario, because our goal is to become your favorite non-QM lender.
Thank you for that, Jim. Here comes another question that's come in for you as well. And it says, how do I control the timeline?
By having constant communication with your account executive and your account manager, right? Now, we publish an internal email on a daily basis of what we call SLA, service level agreements. And I encourage all of my account executives, whenever they send out, say, a pricing quote, or definitely after a file has been submitted to underwriting and a copy of that PDF version of the conditional approval is emailed to you, I encourage my account executives to attach a copy of our SLA email, which details turn times by every department, right? Initial underwrites, condition review, docs, closing, etc. Have a conversation with your account executive. And again, whatever your desired closing date is, work backwards from that date, understanding that the sooner you can get us all of the conditions, the easier and the less stressful the overall process is going to be, right? And there are, I get the occasional complaint like, we just uploaded a bunch of conditions today. Why haven't they been reviewed? And I will often say, folks, this isn't McDonald's, right? This isn't a drive-through where you're going to place your order and 5 minutes later you get your food, okay? You need to provide us time which I believe our turn times, I'll put our turn times, I'll put our entire operation staff up against any operation staff in any other non-QM lender in this industry. All right. But we still need time, give us 24 to 48 hours to conduct our due diligence, right? To make sure that the information provided not only meets the guidelines, but is accurate. Okay. And so if it requires teamwork, right? It's not just on us, it's not just on you, it's us working together. And as long as you do that, then we should be able to close pretty much any file you send to us on time and in a manner which takes a lot of stress off your plate.
So thank you for that. That's the end of our questions. And as we're nearing our time in this webinar, Mr. Greider, Jim, do we have any closing words?
I just say thank you. This industry since 2020 has just been a roller coaster and it's been flat for a while. So I appreciate every professional on this call that is dedicated to helping out borrowers through these times. And a lot of it is, you guys make the difference, right? You guys make the difference in a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people don't give you the credit for that. When you get someone into the home that they need for their family, get the refinance done, that's very powerful, impactful in their lives, and we like to partner with you for that. So thank you again. I'll leave it. Jim, because he kind of put this together, did a great job kind of going through that. So, Jim, you got anything to close out?
Nothing at all. Thanks so much for your time, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to earn your trust in business.
Final question came in. I could go ahead and I can take care of it. The question is this being recorded? Yes, Chris, a copy of this meeting is being recorded. We make it available to you along with a copy of this deck. It will be sent out. It is also posted as well. And always, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Greider, or you can reach out to your account executive. We'll be more than happy to address any questions, any follow-up questions that you may have. And with that, thank you for attending, everyone. Bye, everybody.